Welcome everyone to Chatz with Charnie. This week we have the beautiful Una Mabasa to take us through her journey of au pairing in the United States of America. If you have not already, please subscribe to my channel, and if you like this video, give it a like. So let's take it through our interview. Enjoy! Una, welcome to Chat with Charnie. It's so great to have you here. Please tell the viewers a bit about yourself and where you are currently.
Hi, thanks for having me. So like you said, I'm Una. I'm South African. I just moved to London, like 5 days ago? So I'm fresh in London. And yeah, that's me.
So Una, you're in London now, but not too long ago, well, a couple of years ago, you were in the United States and you were doing au pair work there. Tell us or share with us, why did you decide to become an au pair in the United States? Like, how did you get this information?
So for most of my life, I had always been asked, what do you want to be when you grow up? What do you want to study? And honestly, I didn't know. From grade 1 until I was 17, I didn't know. And it didn't make sense for me to know at 17 what I wanted to do for the rest of my life. It felt like too much at that time. I was too young. I didn't know anything. So I decided to take a gap year. Wasn't sure what I wanted to do in the gap year, but I knew I wanted to travel. I felt like that would be the best way for me to figure out what I wanted to do and who I wanted to be. And yeah, I stumbled upon au pairing and it just made the most sense. I think it was one of the few programs that are a full year, because a lot of the really cool ones are like 3-4 months, but that one is a full year, which is great, which is what I needed. And they had a lot of countries as options. So I was like, this makes sense. I love kids. This is the one. So yeah, that's how I stumbled upon that, because I literally didn't know what I wanted to do. And then, yeah, I guess I figured it out while I was there.
And I think a lot of kids who are currently like in that age group feel that way too. Like, how am I supposed to know what I'm going to do for the rest of my life when I'm 17 or 18 years old?
It's a ridiculous expectation of children. We're children. I'm a child. I don't know. I've been in this little pond my whole life, and now you want me to decide what I'm going to do outside of this pond? I don't know, because you kept me in this pond for so long. I don't know.
Yeah, you were coddled, you were taken care of, and now all of a sudden I need to know what university I want to go to, what course I'm going to study. I completely understand it. I even have like a nephew myself who is taking a gap year because he's like, I want to take a break first before I go on.
Yeah, exactly.
So, Una, how did you decide, or how did you find this particular company? You said that there are some companies that do like 3 or 4 months. So which company did you use in order to get to these states? And how did you find out that they were a 12-month program?
So like I said, didn't know what I wanted to study, but luckily the school that I went to had a program where I think it was one period a week for grade 11 specifically. And for that period, I think like a 45-minute period, they would have different organizations come through and talk to us, sometimes a university, sometimes a gap year agency, all different kinds of things, really, internships, learnerships, all of it. Which I'm so grateful for, because I really had no idea, but we had all these options, which was really great. But the one that stuck out to me was the au pair agency, and they had many different programs. So the two that stuck out were au pair, and what was the other one? Camp America. Oh my gosh, I really wanted to do Camp America. Like, that was to be a camp counselor. It's so fun, but that one is only 3 months, which didn't make sense for a full year, because what am I going to do for the rest of the year? So yeah, they came, they spoke to us, they gave us pamphlets, told us the different countries, the requirements, what you need to start, getting together paperwork wise. So I'm really glad they came, because then I started gathering all my paperwork, getting all my like childcare hours from grade 11, so that by the time I'm done with matric, then I can just go. So yeah, that's how I stumbled upon them.
So you spoke about childcare hours and you spoke about the requirements. What were the exact requirements? Childcare hours, so you have to take care of kids, I'm assuming?
Yes, I don't actually remember the exact hours, but it was I think it was 500 hours.
Oh, goodness.
I think so. I remember that it was a lot of hours, but it was not bad to gather the hours if you have siblings. So you could just easily, if you have siblings, that's an easy way to get your hours, especially if your parents work and they're not home most of the time. If you have cousins that you visit often, you can use those. But with me, I really wanted my application to stand out when it was time to interview with families. So I decided to volunteer at a crèche that was literally right across my high school. Like literally you walk out, right across the street, there's a crèche. So it just
Very
makes
smart.
me
Very smart.
because then I'm like, dealing with different ages, different kinds of kids. I just felt like that was a good way for me to learn also for myself, but also again to stand out from the rest of the applications. I think I went there for like, I want to say 6 months. I think I stopped going when I started writing and when I needed to study and stuff. But yeah, I was going there, I think 3 times a week. And I loved it. It was so fun. It's like so many kids. So many kids. So that was a really great way to get hours, but mostly experience. The experience was because you're learning a lot from the teachers, you're learning from the kids themselves, you're learning about yourself and how you handle kids, what works for you, what doesn't. So yeah, that was a really great way to get my hours.
So you were going to school, and then after school, you would go volunteer at like this aftercare or this creche for like a couple of hours every day, and then you would go home and do whatever responsibilities. So you were extremely committed to this option of au pairing in the United States. You took it seriously.
I took it very seriously. I was like, I am leaving this country. I'm done. I'm going. And this is what I need to do. I'm going to do it.
I love it, the determination.
Like, it was really fun. I really enjoyed it. It didn't feel like a task or something I had to do because it was something I wanted to do. So I really enjoyed it. I loved it.
So were there any other requirements, outside of getting these hours? Did you have to get like a police clearance certificate? Obviously, you had to get your passport and the visa, the J1 visa.
So the visa comes much later. That only comes once you've matched with the family. But before that, it's the police clearance, your passport. The thing that most people struggle with was the license. That's what held a lot of people back, the driving license. I have a friend who, I think after matric, it took her like a whole year before she could go because she kept failing her license. But she had the most perfect application, all the hours in the world. Her video, you have to make a video as well. She had the best video I'd ever seen because I'd looked at people's videos on YouTube. Hers was the best, but you literally can't even submit your application online until you have every single thing that they need. Like literally the button is gray. It won't let you click submit until you have every single thing. And so it's really great if you start early. Like I said, I'm glad I found my agency in grade 11 already. And so I started with all the things. There was a lot of stuff. It took a few months to get it done because there, a lot of the requirements there, it needs time, a lot of time.
And obviously you need a license because you have to take the kids to school, you have to bring them home, you have to take them to the extracurricular activities. So it's a lot because you're basically a live-in nanny, if I'm correct. So you said this process is like long, it takes a few months to do. When you actually got to your sponsor, the company that would take you from South Africa to the United States, what was the process like and how long did it take from engaging with them to actually booking your flight?
So it actually was pretty simple and really easy. They really were a great middleman. I didn't have to do much. After you submit your application and they have all that information, they work with that. And then they start working on your visas. They start working with, you meeting families. But also it's all online. I don't think they physically do anything. It's all like an online process where like what did they call it? Yes. They would say your application is live. And by live, they mean our families in the US can see it and they can go through it, watch your videos, and they can request an interview. And my process between submitting and matching with the family, I want to say it was 2 weeks, 3 weeks.
Wow. You were interested, I can tell.
No, like I was ready. So I think I interviewed with 4 or 5 families, but I ended up matching with the first one I interviewed with. They were it just made the most sense. They made the most sense. I'm still in touch with them today. I love them. I miss them so much. Yeah, they made sense. Yeah. I love them. Yeah.
So you now, let's say you're in this process, you matched with this amazing family that you're still in contact with. you got your visa, and I'm linking the video to I explain the J1 visa process. So please go and check that out, guys. So Una doesn't have to explain it all over again. And you're on your way to the United States. Was there any like initial funding that you had to provide yourself? Anything that you particularly had to pay for this process and for your visa?
So you definitely have to pay the agency an agency fee. You pay for the visa as well. That's included in all the fees. What else? You pay for quite a bit. I think in total it came up to maybe 15,000 Rand for everything, but your family flies you out. So the travel cost is covered by the family, but all the in-betweens, you definitely pay for that. Like I said, definitely best to start early if you need to start saving for that.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think in total it was about 15K.
So that's basically...
Also, outside of the 15K, you need to have spending money for when you land in New York for your training week. So yeah, you need to get food. And I think outside of the, your training hours, they let you roam around the city. And the US is expensive. So it is nice to have spending money, for you to be a tourist. And yeah.
So basically, your out of pocket was, let's say, roughly $1,000 if we're going to equate it to, if we're going to do the exchange rate.
Exactly.
And then we also need money when you get into New York to pay for food, the transportation. And let me tell you something, guys, New York is not cheap.
No, it's not.
Food, traveling in New York is not cheap.
No, it's not.
And also, New York is such a vibe that you're going to want to go out.
Exactly.
You're gonna want to stay
You're gonna
out.
want to do things, yeah. I mean, it depends on your agency and stuff. Ours didn't give us too much time to do our own thing, but when it comes to food and transport, they covered all of that because we stayed in a hotel. So, yeah.
Very nice.
We were in a hotel, so food was covered by them. Our transport from the hotel, airport, and into the city was all covered. It's just once they leave you there and you want to do your own thing, that's your own cost.
Of course. Well, that makes sense.
Yeah.
So you're in the United States, you're in New York, you're flying out to your family. What was that experience like? Because I mean, you're now joining a household of people that you've only met online. So what was that like? Was there any awkwardness? How long did it take for the awkwardness to like disappear?
Honestly, going into it, I was really nervous. I was 18. It was my first time outside the country. I was by myself. I mean, that you do fly with other girls, but they're strangers. You don't know them. They could be weird. So, I was really nervous, but I was also really excited. But I think my biggest fear was, what if my family just sucks? Like, what if they're just not great? But as soon as I saw my host mom's face, I just knew I'd be fine. Honestly, no, she was amazing. All my stress was relieved. I think the first day that I was there, she was amazing. She still is. She literally was my mom. No, she would hate to hear that if I said this. She was like a big sister. Yes, let me say that rather. She'd hate to be a mom to a 23-year-old. No.
So were you there? Were you with this particular host family for the entire 12-month period? Because I know sometimes people move between host families, or they with two host families throughout the year. Were you just with them, or did you move to another one?
So I definitely did the full year with them. I think around your 7th or 8th month mark, they do start asking you like, hey, are you going to extend with us? That's if they want you to. Or you're going to move to another family, or you're going to go home. Because the program is a year, but you can extend with another 6 or 12 months. So I knew pretty much 2-3 months into it that I was going to extend. But the decision of, am I going to extend here or somewhere else, that took a while. But I did end up deciding to extend somewhere else. I wanted a new experience. I wanted a new city, different people. I think I just wanted to be on the other side of the country because the US is so big. The US is so big. It's a continent-sized country. And from where I was very limited with travel because traveling in this continent-sized country is so expensive. So I figured it made sense for me to be on the other side so I can start traveling there for cheaper versus trying to go coast to coast. It's like $500. It's a lot.
So we met while you were on the East Coast, and I think that was towards the end of your program. So if you're saying you were on the other side, were you like in the California region initially?
I was actually more north. I was in Portland, Oregon,
Oh, okay, wow.
Seattle, up there. But because of, you know, my location, it was very easy for me to travel to California and yeah, doing a lot of that. That was really fun. Even Hawaii.
Oh,
Hawaii.
jealous.
Hawaii.
Jealous.
Oh.
So then you were basically on the West Coast, and then you moved all the way
Right,
to the East
first.
Coast where we met a couple of years ago. And so then you obviously were able to travel to New York and those other, or go back to New York and
Exactly.
travel to all these places. So if you could like think of a number, how many states or cities do you think you've been to while during that year in the United States?
If I say states, it's going to be way less. So I'm going to say the cities.
Very clever.
So when I was in Portland, I did Seattle, I did San Francisco, San Diego, LA, Tijuana, which is in Mexico, which is right by the border, Hawaii, and then guys, I had a weird situation. I was in a long distance relationship with someone from, it was long, but I ended up going to Tennessee. That was not fun. I did not like that place. It was, no. And then on the East Coast, obviously DC, Philadelphia, I did a lot. New York, obviously. What else? I feel like I'm forgetting a few. But I went to a lot of places. But I think those are my
You
favorites.
basically took advantage of that year while you were in the United States.
Mm.
Now, the host families that you were at, who you were with, did they allow you, like, what was your work hours, and did they allow you to have weekends to yourself, or were you also committed to them on the weekends?
So with my first host family, they were amazing. I think I worked maybe a 35-hour week. Oh, no. But only during the week, so Monday to Friday. And so I had pretty much every weekend off, unless they needed me on a random Saturday. If they needed to go to like the farmer's market and I stay with one of the kids, or go to the farmer's market with them just to help them, because 3 kids is a lot of people. So yeah, I had most of my weekends to myself. So with the au pair company, au pair rules, whatnot, they're required to give you 1 free weekend a month. But like I said, my family was great. I only worked during the week. I had every weekend. But you also get 3 full like consecutive days a month to yourself. And those are the days I would use for, for my traveling. And I traveled alone, so it just made sense for me to just do it on my 3 days. You also get 2 full weeks the whole year. So I would like take a day from that and make it like a 4 or 5 day trip. So yeah, that's what I did.
So you were smart.
No, like I
structuring your holidays.
It was so structured, but it also was very spontaneous. I never like planned like 2 months. No, and literally I'd be like, ooh, maybe next week, you know, yeah.
And in terms of remuneration, so you get like a monthly salary, a monthly allowance from the family, I suppose, or from the company. Was that enough for you to do your traveling, grocery shopping, or was like your grocery shopping and food covered by the family?
Yes, so grocery shopping, food, petrol, your day-to-day needs are covered by the family, except for like your toiletries. That's definitely on you. Your skincare, your routine, that's all you, girl. So for me, I had to decide if I'm either gonna save or travel, because there was not enough for me to do both. So I decided that, listen, this is gonna be for me to live my best life, and that's what I decided to do. But yeah, it's really not a lot of money. So if you're gonna use it as a way to save for university, then I think you're just gonna have to save and then like live on a budget if you're gonna, you know, be doing things. But for me to travel the way I wanted to, as freely as I wanted to, I definitely had to choose to do that. So yeah,
I've heard that. Yeah. I've heard from actually I met somebody when I was in New York. She was from the Netherlands and she came over as an au pair, and she said some people do this strategically to save, and other people do it to travel, to see the United States, be exposed to different cultures. So I think before you go, you need to make that decision. Like you said, what am I here for? Am I here to save, to go to college, for my family? Or am I here to, have fun, live my best life, see as many things as I can see, and go back to like my home country?
Exactly. Yeah. It's really hard to do both. I did meet like 1 or 2 people who managed to do both. But like I said, they didn't travel as much. And you really do have to choose your struggle.
I completely resonate with that. When I lived in Ireland, I was like, I don't care about the savings. I'm here to see Europe.
Exactly.
I'm here to travel. Give me that €50 flight.
Yes.
Give me that €80 flight. I'm there.
Yes. I'm getting the bad airlines. I'm doing all of that. I'm going to
going with Spirit Airlines where you have to pay for everything.
Exactly. No, I don't care about it. I'm going. And the great thing about the East Coast, being in DC, is that you can take a bus to New York, take a bus to Philadelphia. I never flew anywhere. The buses were great. But West Coast is pretty far. You definitely have to fly.
Yeah, the East Coast is pretty nice. You can get a bus trip from DC to New York for about $19.
Yes.
It's like very cheap. We did it recently. It was good.
Yes.
I'm not gonna lie though.
DC bus was really great. Pardon?
DC buses are dodge. When we came back, I was like, we ain't going back. We ain't doing this again.
They are a bit sus.
There's always some drama on the bus.
Exactly. Oh my gosh. But affordable, definitely 1,000, and reliable. There are always buses.
So, you told us about your amazing experience in the United States, the families that you got to experience and really like involve yourself in. I mean, to this day, you're still in contact with them. You told us about, living your best life, being in Hawaii, being in New York, DC, just like really living. And also, thank you for expressing that when you were 17, you didn't know quite what you wanted to do. And you saw an avenue where you could actually see the world, you could see the United States, and so smart of you. And I really commend you for this, for starting out so young, knowing what you wanted to do, and then, planning strategically to get those requirements, get those hours in, save if you needed to for that 15K. And really, you were such a responsible teenager.
Oh my gosh, thank you.
Like, I don't even know if I can say that about myself.
Thank you. I feel like my parents don't know that they really had it good with me.
What? Just play them this video, send them the YouTube
honestly,
and be like, I was a responsible teenager, and I
literally got a job at a uniform shop for months so that I could pay for it, because they were like, no, you're going to school. I said, no, I'm not. I was like, I'm not doing that. I don't want to. I'm not ready.
Determined. I like it. And you knew what you wanted. It's not like you were just sitting and like twiddling your thumbs. You had a plan, which is amazing. And like I'm saying, I commend you for that. What advice would you give to a student or to somebody who's currently thinking about, taking a gap year, or they're not quite sure what they're going to do with themselves for the next year or two? What advice would you give them with regards to au pairing in a different country?
So for one, go through the different agencies, find the one that you feel most comfortable with, find the one you like, but make sure that the one you choose, someone that has gone through with them. Don't choose one where you don't know anyone. Just for safety reasons, I wouldn't be comfortable with that. Definitely go with an agency. Honestly, use my agency. I know many people that have used it. I'm sure you'll link it below somewhere. But definitely don't use something that you don't know. And when you find that one, go through the list of requirements and start now, because a lot of those things take a while. Passports takes a while. Driver's license takes a while. Police clearance is faster now. Childcare hours, that takes forever. Start now, so that by the time that you want to go, you can go, because you have everything that you need. Number 2, once you've done all of that and you're matching with families, please, please, please go at the end of winter or the start of spring. You do not, I promise you, depending on the city you're going to, but honestly, anywhere in the US, except for like California, you don't want to go there in winter. You do not want to get there in the dead of winter. You will be depressed. You will struggle with seasonal depression. And I know that I'm saying this in a very light tone and, funny, but genuinely, we are from sunny South Africa. We have sun throughout the year, and we don't realize how lucky we are with that until you go to a city where for 6 months out of the year, there's no sun, it's cloudy, it's dark, nothing. It really is depressing. People start taking vitamin D, I think like 2 months before winter hits, it's that bad. So if you can time it so that you're going towards the end of winter or the start of spring, so that you can enjoy it as like summer first and spring, and then like ease your way into the winter, because it is rough. US winter is rough. It is not like ours. Girl, oh no. The weather is so extreme. Their summers are incredibly hot and the winters are just the opposite. Like it's just so extreme. And I also say like try to time it so that you're going like in a really nice season, so that you're not spending your first 3 months stuck inside, because you're going to be miserable. You want to be outside and meeting people and going to different places. That doesn't really happen in winter. So definitely time it for, I think I went in May, like early May, and that was the perfect time. Like that was when spring was in full swing. April, May is a good time, I'd say.
Thank you so much, Una, for this advice. I think that you did an amazing job. Your personality, you're so vibrant. So it's been great having you on Chats with Charnie. And, you know, like I told you before, the people back home, that they don't know about these opportunities. So I am so thankful and grateful to you for sharing your experience with us, sharing the different possibilities that they are out there, you know, to experience the world. I think you're doing an amazing job. All the best with your time in the UK and in Europe. I'm sure you're gonna like just make a success out of all the endeavors that you're going into. And you're beautiful, you're radiant. So I'm sure that everything will just work out great.
Thank you so much. Thank you. That means so much to me.
Bye everyone. Also, wait, before you leave, if you like this video, please give Una a like and subscribe to the channel as well. Follow her on Instagram to see her journey in the UK and Europe. I'll be tagging her down below. And everyone else, have a great day. Bye.